Today we're going to be talking about Signs. And I had never seen this movie. Macho, I think you had, yeah?
I've seen this plenty. I saw it in theaters. Yeah, I've seen it plenty of times.
You saw it in theaters.
I think I own this on DVD somewhere.
We were going to see if I could break down the movie in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And Macho here is going to keep me honest, yeah? Oh, yeah?
Here we go. Think about it. You had time to think about it?
I had a little bit of time to think about it. I'll jump in.
Okay, here we go. So you're going to explain to me what the entire movie was in 90 seconds.
I'm going to try.
Okay, and go.
All right, so the movie starts, and Mel Gibson goes up to his children's door, but does not go in. And then there's a scream, so he runs out to the cornfield, and then there's crop circles. And it's like, oh no, crop circles. Then there's another issue. There's other weird things kind of happening. There isn't a lot in between this and the next thing, which is his son stabbing their dog and to death, essentially. And then they have another German Shepherd that they take care of. And water is an issue here. Then there's a baby monitor thing, and I called this Chekhov's gun. I was like, that's Chekhov's baby monitor. They're going to use that later. And so they're like, oh, the baby monitor can pick up radio signals. Then they see an alien on top of their house, go talk to an officer about it. They don't show us the alien, so we don't really know what's going on. Officer's like, we don't really believe you. Then there's a conversation as more weird stuff starts happening about the two groups of people. One group of people believes that
30 seconds.
There's miracles. The other group doesn't. And so that's kind of what this movie is about when it comes down to it, is Mel Gibson and that question. And so eventually the aliens continue to attack. They get stuck in the cellar. His son is on death's door. And because his son's lungs were closed, the alien's poison gas didn't get into his body, which he then sees as divine intervention and comes back to being a Christian after losing his wife before the events of the film. Boom! 90 seconds. I feel like I kind of crapped out on Act 2, but I got the gist of it, bro.
No, that's fine. You know what's so funny is you only have 90 seconds. Basically, every second you have is kind of detrimental. You started your 90 seconds of saying, okay, so the movie starts out. Like...
Well, you know what? It's my first time doing this, and I'm sure I'll get better as I go through it.
You know what? But what you basically would have had to do on the top of your head, which is hard, is do the synopsis on the back of a movie, like a VHS case.
I think
right,
okay.
And you did. Yeah, you did fine. You were kind of like vague to kind of summarize towards the end, right?
Well, really, it really wasn't that detailed. It was just a lot of suspense building with them boarding up the house and then being like, yeah, we'll watch the TV, and then like, oh, this is happening all over. Oh, in major cities, this is a problem. And then they finally end up in the cellar, and then they're in the cellar for a while, and then they're finally outside, and the movie's over. We were gonna start with just our general rating. I think
out of let's say out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10.
And this is your personal subjective.
For me personally, it's a 6.5.
Okay.
But I'm not a horror movie fan, so that's actually, for an older horror movie like this that doesn't have the kind of twists and updates that modern horror movies like Get Out and Nope have, I feel like this is a high score for myself.
Okay.
But it's a 6.5. There's too
for
much
not
silliness.
liking that genre of film, like you just said.
Well, I feel like
6.5 isn't bad. If I watch,
each individual aspect on its own was good, but the way they put it all together, in my opinion, was a bit lacking. And you could kind of tell they were leaning on specific camera angles and stuff like that to bring down the cost of production, because that alien was expensive. Like the shot on the roof, they could probably get away with a guy in a dark suit, but the shots of the alien in the house and like, I mean, those prosthetics probably didn't cost that much, but at the same time, you're still spending all that time setting it up and stuff.
Yeah, how much? I mean, this was made in 2002, so budgets in general weren't like huge, even though this was like a big blockbuster movie at the time. I don't think M. Night Shyamalan was having like, $200 million to...
Had he done Sixth Sense yet? Because isn't that what really launched it?
That was his first movie.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
It's kind of like the guy who did The Godfather.
Right.
I don't know anything about writing movies, goes to read a book about writing movies, sees The Godfather.
So 72 million
72 million. Back then,
was
too,
their
though.
budget. That's actually a lot.
Yeah, back then, that's a decent chunk of change.
Yeah.
That's, especially for films.
It grossed $408 million.
Wow.
This was big, dude.
Dude, I don't get it. It's just, it's so slow. And, like, I understand, like, the discussion they had when the kids were asleep and the TV was on about those two different groups of people. Was Mel Gibson an executive producer on this?
No.
He wasn't.
No, I know.
Interesting. Well, I don't know, that conversation, and I mean, like, his character obviously revolved around kind of faith in the first place, you know? And, like, I think that's why, like, the reason we got the scene with his wife at the end, at the same time that he was regaining his faith with his son, was because it was the yin and yang of those things, right?
Right.
It was the climax of that particular part of the story. But 6.5 for me.
So was it? So why 6 point? Like what was it? The fact that just the genre in general, or like you just mainly said it's so slow. You just don't like the speed of it.
I think it was slow. I didn't like the fact that the camera angles they used were frustrating. It wasn't. There's a way to hide your monster and keep it interesting. Holding a single shot on Joaquin Phoenix looking up and walking 15 steps back and then 15 steps forward and making a very similar facial expression the entire time is not an intriguing way of hiding your monster, in my opinion. Like, and that's the thing, right? Is if you already give us the initial look of them on top of the roof, you could have at least given us a single shot of maybe their head over top, and that would then drive Joaquin's movement, right? Instead, you just have Joaquin walking around, get it? And Joaquin walking around, and just like, we understand what he's looking at, but we're just watching him, and it's boring. And like, that's one of the things, like, and I think that's when we took a break for a second, and I came back and I said, now I'm starting to get intrigued. Mm-hmm. Was because there was that, and then there was the Chekhov's baby monitor, right? Mm-hmm. Those two things got dropped, mm-hmm. and yeah, but yeah, I have to say the most frustrating thing for me was the camera angles they used, and their justifications for doing so. I don't.
Well, let's get real fast here. I'm just gonna say I saw this movie first when I was maybe 14. 13, so when it came out, and obviously my expectations were probably a whole lot lower at that time. So at that time I would have said 10. Now I would say a solid like 7.5. I'd give 7.5.
Just a point higher than me.
Yeah, like maybe 7.5 or 8 depending on the mood I'm in. You know, I will say an 8 because I think the good parts outweigh and there are some bad parts, don't get me wrong, but I think the good parts are the majority of the movie in my opinion, but the bad parts are, I think for most people they would be overlooked. So I think more people are willing to like appreciate the movie for what it is.
Give me an example of it.
Well, let's go through it. Let's go through like the screenplay first. So,
okay, screenplay.
First category, screenplay. I thought the character development was
obvious.
I thought it was obvious and subpar. Like it wasn't. I want to say subpar. It was par. It hit par.
Well, but that's what makes it obvious.
It was very obvious. It was very like. The hints that they would throw out towards Mel Gibson's character was kind of, you know...
Can we talk about the son for a second? This genius level intellect.
Right.
You know, what is he, like 10-year-old?
Yeah.
Like the bit where he took the VCR, the thing that goes in a VCR, a tape.
A VHS.
The VHS, yeah.
Oh my God.
Whatever, man. It's been a long day.
Okay.
But yeah, he takes the VHS and he's like, this is for your future children. That just made me roll my eyes to the back of my skull, bro.
Because he shouldn't be that smart?
Well, and a child who's 10 doesn't say that stuff for the most part. And he doesn't say it so eloquently.
Yeah, but
if he had said the same thing in 10-year-old speech and not 30, 40-year-old speech.
But he's been talking like that the entire movie about everything.
It bothered me the whole time.
Okay, so you just didn't like their choice in his character.
Yeah, it was like, I get he's a Culkin, but you don't have to, like, this isn't Home Alone. It's not a genius.
Speaking of real fast, we got Mr. Braveheart. We got the Joker.
Yeah.
We got the one of the Culkin brothers. Those kids slay, man. They are good.
I didn't say it was a bad performance.
No,
I said it was
I know.
bad writing.
We got what's that zombie movie? We got Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to think.
Was that really her?
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Little Miss Sunshine. What's the zombie movie with
Zombieland?
Zombieland? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, she's the little sister.
The little sister.
Yeah. Dakota.
Yes.
Damn, I got a good memory.
Was it Dakota? It might be Dakota. Yeah, I think you might be right. I don't know if you know M. Night Shyamalan's in all his movies.
Oh, is he the Indian guy?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know what other director was in every single one of his movies?
Peter Jackson.
No. He's not, is he?
He cameos, yeah.
In Lord of the Rings?
Every single one.
Really?
First one, he's the dude eating the carrot as they go into Bree. Second one, he's one of the guys. He's the guy who throws a spear in Helm's Deep.
Okay.
Third one, he's the pirate that gets shot it's cut for the theatrical version, but for the extended version,
you'll see it.
They were able to include it where it's not just him cameoing; it's him, a producer, and then his second director.
That was for Return of the King?
Yeah.
It goes to show his dedication that he's willing to take his one part out.
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
If it fit the movie.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the Return of the King was.
So I'm thinking. The example of a director that's in it is old school for me. It's Alfred Hitchcock.
Dude, I want to get into some Hitchcock films on this channel because I haven't seen any of them really.
Whoa, we could get into that. I was like diehard religious, like fucking every other weekend I was popping on for some reason it was like my stepmom just happened to have some movies and then I did some exploring and bought all the movies I could with Alfred Hitchcock and I love him. So we'll
start with Dr. Strangelove, right? That's a Hitch.
No,
he
didn't do that one. I'll probably start you out with like either Psycho, The Birds. Rear Window is actually my favorite one he's done.
Rear Window.
Rear Window.
Rear. Oh. Okay.
With Jimmy Stewart.
I don't even know what that is.
It's all right. I forgive you.
So, screenplay.
Great cast.
Yeah, I thought it was a good cast. Yeah, I had no complaints.
So
about the cast.
you know what, and that helps definitely carry the movie because I think the writing on some of the scenes with the brothers are so good. That scene when they're on the couch and he's talking about the two different kinds of people and the play on each other is so good. Like even when they're like getting ready to go out and scream around the house.
Well, and I remember I said to you when we were, after that scene, I said like Joaquin saying something so stupid after something so genuine,
right?
From Mel Gibson's character, only works because of Joaquin's amazing acting when he's listening.
Yeah,
that's the only reason that stupid line lands.
Yeah,
is because of amazing acting. The other scene that I'll point out that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie was the bit when they're about to chase the alien outside that I was just complaining about, where he's like, you need to yell, you need to be angry, you need to cuss, and he's like, I don't want to cuss, I just my hand, and then they both run, and Joaquin's going full tilt, and probably use this line at some point, I am going insane with anger. That shit was gold. That was amazing. That was some good writing. That had like a Joss Whedon Guardian of the Galaxies almost like back and forth. Dude, the levity was great for that. And I was disappointed there wasn't more of that later in the film. I understand the gravitas was there, but there was a cellar joke in there somewhere. Like, we're stuck in a cellar. Like, there's a joke there somewhere that they could have made.
Well, the movie had two different tones.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe three different tones. Yeah, screenplay-wise.
I mean, we'll talk about this in themes, but...
Well, okay. But it was part of the screenplay I felt like...
Well, go ahead. Okay. I was going to say introduce them. We'll talk about them more in depth later.
First tone, obviously, is like there's aliens or something going on, whatever. Second tone is like there's kind of like an everyday family that just is kind of witty and kind of silly, and the brother's kind of the goofball uncle, right? So they kind of have that feel to it. And then the third one is obviously they constantly go back with the flashbacks with like his struggle with his faith and his wife's death. So there's three tones that they're trying to keep balance, and I felt like the tone, the kind of the witty, lighthearted tone, really died down like midway to the second act. They started to kind of take that part away. By the third act, it was just straight up, just like drama based, which I'm fine with because you can't really hold that tone, that whole if you want it to be serious. So
I disagree. I think that humanity in general makes jokes even in the worst of situations. And like the cellar, for example, I think would have been a great situation where it's like we found some bulbs, let there be light. Like just literally a single line like that.
That's some missed opportunities. Because let's talk about that scene. I haven't seen that movie in years, and I actually, I not that I even forgot, I don't think I ever noticed how drawn out that it's so unnecessary for the kid to and he's like, breathe with me and breathe, and it was too, and well, it's him. You're sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh, he's struggling with this because I know I'm struggling with this.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think I turned and I said, yeah, that's 4 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, the most first, like I will say this: I understand why the director felt the necessity for that particular scene. It was the main character struggling with his faith and letting it out, because I think part of his character is like when M. Night Shyamalan, who's playing the guy who killed his wife, right, says he's sorry, he has that visceral emotional response, right, but he doesn't cry. He doesn't let it out. And with his son dying in his arms, he finally does let it out, and he says, I hate you, God.
Yeah.
And then after that, he asks for God's help.
Yeah.
And like, that's his character's turning point.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring this up, was when he's talking about those two groups of people in that good scene that we were talking about, that great scene where Joaquin is responding. I think he himself, the character, is bouncing between those two groups the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's really, like, at its core is what it's about. And I think, like, that's why it's called Signs. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's like,
no, it is. That's why
like,
he says,
is like, do you have faith that these are aliens, or do you just not believe? Do you think it's just a coincidence?
Right.
And it's like, it's that dichotomy for him, right?
Yeah.
I think, and it's just like, you know, the existence of aliens doesn't disprove God, but it definitely brings up a lot of questions.
We're gonna go into the next section of critics' notes over here. So you wrote some notes.
Oh yes,
and we're gonna watch. So as you were, here's my question for you. So it kind of and it applies to all your questions as you're writing notes as we're watching the movie. Did any of your thoughts in that moment change by the time the movie ended? But go through them. Let's see what you wrote down.
Alrighty, so Mel Gibson, same face, not talking. He does the same face in The Patriot when he's looking for his sons. It's like that wide open, blue-eyed stare.
So wait, he just that's his face. That's his look.
No, it's his. I'm worried and I'm looking for something, but I'm not going to speak because my character is mysterious or whatever. For example, he just lost his wife, so he doesn't talk a lot. The next one I said the symbols looked Egyptian looking, which I thought was an interesting touch.
Okay.
Next, a dog no like water. Something is off with the water. So the water had some kind of significance, and then it was revealed at the end that's what kills the aliens, right?
You know what? Why did the dog go crazy?
They said that the aliens made the dogs go crazy. It just had something to do with, like, them being so riled up. It's alien to them. They've never experienced anything like that. Like even human smells and chemicals, right? Throughout history, they're genetically they've like smelled that stuff. An alien form with a nose 1,000 times more powerful than our own. Mm-hmm. What if it smells like shit?
Crazy enough to try to bite its owner? I mean,
bro, imagine if someone was just literally taped shit to your nose and there's no way to get out of it. It's
moving on.
Being constantly waterboarded.
All right.
But
dogs go crazy because smell.
Yeah, the dog went crazy because of the water, whatever. Chekhov's baby monitor, when they had the interview with the cop, I did call it. I was like, that baby monitor's going to be important. Officer perspective, because they didn't show the alien, during that outside chase sequence. And so when they were interviewing both brothers and they're not giving solid answers, you're experiencing it from the cop's perspective, which I thought was smart.
That was a good scene too.
I was going to say, that was smart and a good scene. That was a scene with good writing. I will
Yeah.
give them that on that. Mel Gibson with the good physical humor when he heard the stuff at night and he goes into the cornfield.
Right.
And he walks out and he's like, I'm not making you famous. And then he just like takes like 1 step back, 2 step back, 3 step back, and then like abrupt turn and just into the cornfield. Like that was great physical humor,
Yeah.
dude. What I was saying earlier, the dichotomy of the two groups of people, aliens versus God, essentially. Mel was essentially in group 1, moved to group 2 because of his wife's death, but is pushed back and forth between the two because of how, like, aliens and God, if you believe in them or not, are somewhat similar in some ways.
Yeah.
It's faith-based, right?
Yeah.
The alien book where the UFO attacks their house with the 3 bodies.
Right.
As like foreshadowing
Right.
that their house would be attacked.
Right.
Which I was right about.
And according to that foreshadowing, they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I thought it was going to be the brother that died, not Mel Gibson, and then Mel Gibson is left alone. I thought that was a potential.
Oh, interesting.
I think that was something that potentially could have happened, but I didn't. That was very, very far-fetched, but it did come up in my brain.
Yeah.
Because it was 1 adult, 2 kids, so like...
M. Night Shyamalan, now that I think about it, he has never killed off a main character, except for Bruce Willis, but he's already dead in Sixth Sense.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
literally
like, does that
different
count?
together, yeah. Like, no, everyone else isn't... He doesn't really kill off any of the...
What about the old movie on the beach?
Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. Everyone dies in that.
I was gonna say, doesn't everyone fucking die there?
Everyone dies in that one.
Okay.
Why do you ask? They get old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then the knife mirror fake out. So when I say fake out, we'll talk about that.
That's gonna go into cinematography and visuals and stuff. But
so this is actually in terms of his character. When he grabs the knife, my initial thought was, oh, he's gonna pull the things off the door and go in there and get after the alien. But that's not his character. Instead of using the knife as a weapon, he uses it as a tool. And he only uses it as a weapon when he has to. When the pain comes out. Right? And so that I thought was a very cool character moment.
Yeah.
It was a not violence, but thinking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's the thinking man, he's not a violent man.
Right.
Yeah, which justifies him hiding in the cellar later.
Yeah.
He's just not that type of dude. You know?
I also, that was, the writing for that character is really well. The last thing I'll say before we move on to cinematography is...
I've still got a few more things, but...
go for it.
Cooking the last meals showed his acceptance to a certain point.
Yes.
Like, he was just like...
We're dead.
Like, okay, I'm in group 1 again. They're fucking here.
We're
Here we go.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. The dichotomy, right, is he'd lost all of his faith in God, but he had all the faith in aliens at that point, right? And then the asthma scene, why? That's all I wrote. Asthma scene, why? And then, and I explained that. Oh, Phoenix's face and faith when he's talking to Mel Gibson's character after.
That's what I was gonna say. That's literally what I was gonna bring up.
Yeah, after his break of faith.
Yeah, he's like, I never want to see that again.
And half his face is in shadow.
Yeah, in shadow. Yeah.
And I thought that was great because it was just like, he's supposed to be the dark one.
Yeah.
Not you. You're supposed to be the father. He's the one who's supposed to swing away.
Yeah.
Right? In the film's words. And then someone did at the end, and it's like, his faith is back. Stamp.
Right.
Movie over.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's everything I wrote down.
Yeah. And you think those things warrant a 6.5?
Like I said earlier, I think that the individual components...
Because I don't think it was a true horror movie. I know it's got some, like, kind of scary moments.
It was horror/thriller,
drama,
philosophical thriller. I'll say.
Yeah.
Kind of like The Lighthouse, right?
I don't know if I'll ever get around finishing that movie.
Yeah.
I started that movie and then I was like, I don't know if I could handle this. And then a week later, I was like, I got to see the ending, and I just watched the last 5 minutes of it, and I was like, I'm so happy I didn't sit through this movie. Anyways, so good notes. You were right about a couple things. You weren't really wrong about. You did think that when they went to town and they came back, their house was something weird was going to go on.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
Wait, you were kind of right, because when they came back and they pulled in the driveway of their farm, that's when the baby monitor.
Yeah, the baby monitor worked. Yeah.
So that something did happen when they came back to try to help you out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So and at the very end, I go, if he comes out in his father's outfit, I'm gonna be so pissed. And then he comes out in the father's outfit.
Easy to tell that was coming. Okay, moving on. Cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you go first on this one.
So that I know this director significantly better than you.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of Shyamalan films.
Yeah, so I know his style, and he's got his own style, and he tries to kind of be very creative, and I think his movies get better and better and better in terms of cinematography, because I think he's I'm like, if you could go through his movies and you can see him perfecting his art as the movies go through. The movie benefits from him being the writer and director, because he has just a full-on vision. Yeah. But I also think he's tunnel vision, where it's like, I think a shot where the two brothers are panning around the basement to try to find where the breeze is coming, and they end up in that whole shot. It's a cool concept, and they all end up in the same area. But then it's like, for that to happen, he had to force the story to be a certain way, where the boy he goes from handing over the flashlight to his dad to he's in the corner of the basement behind a bunch of boxes randomly in the dark unless I guess you could say he was scared and he went to a corner and the whatever.
Well, he's being a 10-year-old and just walking around being a goober.
But for that shot to work, he had to
be right next
randomly
to the wall.
Against the wall. But it was a cool shot because the arm is camouflaged, and I saw you you're like, oh, that kind of. It didn't get you as much as the other scene, but let me tell you this. Shyamalan is really good about kind of keeping your suspense going at the edge of your seat with just letting the actor take its time. Like, there's no rush in his scenes. Take their time. There's no rush in any of the scenes. Where Gibson is like, do I go down there with the knife? Nah, fuck it. And he puts the knife there and he starts to walk out, and it's all one shot. He stands at the doorway and he's like, fuck it. And he turns around, grabs it, and like all that happens so much that you're just watching it live almost, because there's no cuts or anything. So I think it bodes well for M. Night Shyamalan to be able to do that with the shots. But then it also hurts him a little bit. So it's one of those things. I think he just had too much freedom to do what he wanted in the movie. But some of the shots were really well done.
So here's my 2 cents, right? I will say yes, some of the shots were well done. But bro, some of that shit was so boring. So boring. Like the one shot where
if you could cut out like a half an hour of that movie, what would you cut out? Just like name scenes.
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that there's a lot of scenes that need to get cut. I think we could cut 1 or 2 scenes in the beginning. The one thing I do like about the film is, unlike other horror films, they just jump in. Like, it's just like, here's the crazy supernatural thing that's happening. Like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, this is the issue, which I did enjoy. But yeah, I would cut out some of the conversations in the beginning. I would do the scene with the wife sooner.
Yeah.
So we were waiting for the baseball bat to come into play, because we didn't know the bat existed until 15 seconds before they use it.
Right.
And if I remember the line correctly, he says he's got the bat above his like in his bedroom or something, and he lives in the barn. So why is it in the main house? Doesn't make sense. But
he moved in with his brother to.
I know, but he lives in the barn.
I know, but maybe he used to be or something.
Yeah. Anyways, the bat. I wish they had shown that the bat was in the house, available to them. And I'd also change some of the decisions, because some of the decisions were stupid. Like, I think they could have shown that they were more adept than they were. Like, freaking no one holding a weapon or having a weapon until the very end of the movie. That's ridiculous. If the alien is the same size as you, like, yeah, they might have super strength, but
They made an entire shot of him going through and trying to find something, and he's like, found it, and he grabs this giant pickaxe. And I'm like, okay, cool, they got something. But well, I mean, but it was still used for good use there.
Yeah.
But then right after, when he goes, like, you see him walking up the stairs, which is actually a cool scene, I think. Because that's well shot.
Let it wait.
Because you see him slowly walk up, and you're like, anything could happen. And the way you see him standing up on the top of the stairs while you're still there's shots from the basement. So
what I liked.
That's what I mean. Even the slow parts I thought were well shot.
I like the fact that on that extended shot they let the dust flow and it wasn't disturbed. So it's like, is he still doing stuff? Because there's just the dust was just hanging there,
right,
from the 3 shafts of light that they had,
right.
And it's like, is that false hope?
Right.
That was So you know what? No, I'm gonna hold. It's at 6.5 because there's too much dumb stuff. There's too many dumb things. I'm sorry. That's my issue with most horror movies. There's too many dumb things. But this was a good one.
The really and again I think he wants every scene to be every shot, not scene but like shot to be meaningful. Where like when the whole family climbs up on top of the car together and the shot is like they're all kind of holding each other's hands. If that felt forced. So
to me, no, that felt like this is awkward and we're just holding this position because it's just what happens to be working,
right.
Which is a very human
reaction.
Again,
it's an M. Night Shyamalan type of thing. Those later movies didn't do it as much.
Here's a shot that pissed me off. They're doing it's Mel Gibson right after he saw the alien leg in the field, and he comes down and he sits down at the table, and there's kids in the background, right? And this is like one of the longer shots where they just kind of let it percolate. And so he's kind of percolating in his brain. He's just like, and then it's a slow pan over to the right to Joaquin Phoenix's character. And he says his little line. And then it pans back very slowly to Mel Gibson and the 2 kids. And it's like, cool, but completely pointless. And then it rotates back, and it's just the same shot as before, and nothing has changed. And it's just like, why not just include Joaquin in the shot initially? Why do we need this slow camera turn in the middle of this conversation? Is that my 2 cents?
You know what I'll say though is the pace of it is like, it's kind of on par with like Jaws. Have you ever seen Jaws?
Nope. I told you I don't watch horror.
I think it. I don't even. I guess you would consider that a horror now. At the time, it was kind of like a thriller, but I think the way that it is now, but you don't see the shark like a whole bunch. You see like
well, there's an animatronic eventually.
You see moments of like you see a fin or you see something get dragged under.
Well, I think
and it's the scare, it's the fear of something that you're not quite sure what's there, but you know it's there.
But here's my frustration though, right? Is like, then don't show us.
At all?
Well, no. If you're going to show something, continue to at least show that, right? Because otherwise I feel like it's just like, it's stupid. Like, for example, while we're talking about signs, right? And we'll talk about Jaws too, right? And I think this is older horror movies that do this horribly, is like you were saying, they kind of hide the monster, and part of like not knowing where it is or exactly what it looks like or whatever is part of the scare. But it's like, in my opinion, if you're going to show those little things, for example, when they showed the body of the alien, so we know it's a humanoid, at the top of the house, and then they run out and then they don't show another shot, right? Even if it's not there, right? Even if it's not there.
You want to see what they see.
And not even for the whole time. It could be a half-second shot, which would relate to them being like freaked out and looking, but you're not putting us in the scene when you do that kind of thing. And that's why I dislike.
I think it's the only time in the movie they don't. No, but it's got to be the only time in the movie they don't show you what they see. Every other time in the movie, you see what they see. Think about it.
Which is you living through the characters, which is what should be happening.
Right, I hear you. But that's the only time in the movie.
And I mean, they did get to have the cop scene after that. But it's like, if that's the case, don't show an alien at the top of the thing. Have Joaquin Phoenix whip his head up and go, "Ugh," and do that shot before all the other shots, and then have them do that, right? Reverse the shot order.
Have them see the dark figure later.
No. So the scene at the end where they're doing the back and forth, right? Where there's that 15-20 second shot of Joaquin walking up through camera and then back towards the camera, kind of staring at the roof. Bro, if you watch it again, it's
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, staring at the roof, right? Do that first instead of showing us the alien on the roof. And then after that, have a reaction where something changed. They run into the house. They have that quick conversation.
No, I like how they did it because it shows that it wouldn't be the scene at all what it was, because it was like you got this goofball of a brother, and then you got this skeptical fucking other older brother
who doesn't want to swear,
right? And so like the setup of the scene is like they saw something that they are convincing themselves it's a human. It's some neighbor messing with them. But as the audience, we know, dude, no, that is a creature from space, my dude.
See, I wasn't convinced yet.
Right? So
I wasn't convinced it was aliens yet.
But nonetheless, you know it's something. You know it's something that's not human. So we get it. From our point of view, we're like, dude, you're fucking up by doing that, man. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. But the brother's like, we're gonna go out and scream, and we're gonna scare their asses off. And
see, I'm totally with the brother.
And you're right, but like as the audience member, we get to witness that their mistake. If they reverse the scene and they did it where Joaquin Phoenix looked up at the roof first and got all spooked or like was like, what's up there? Like, I felt like the entire scene, the vibe of that entire thing wouldn't have worked anymore. Like they kind of had to see something to kind of get them like, dude, what the fuck is that? Let's go get them. But like that, it is. There's formulas for these types of movies of like horror and scary thrillers.
I can't.
There's formulas.
Yeah.
But at least they didn't do a lot of that. As like you don't see what they see.
Yeah,
they literally only did that one time.
Yeah, but it was egregious. But yeah, they only did it one time.
So that's basically we kind of cut over to visuals already.
So I will say the CGI alien. When did this come out?
2002.
Yeah, so a little bit after Jurassic Park.
A little bit. Jurassic Park was 1993.
Oh, was it? So yeah, a little bit after Jurassic Park, and. Yeah, like I thought the alien was good, but like two of the biggest things that you can use to cheat in CGI is lighting, like light and shadow, right? They put it in a bright room,
right?
But it was dark somehow,
right?
To make it mysterious, and it's like, look, bro, like.
Can I say something real fast? Is that till this day, people shit on the ending with the alien more than anything ever. Like they think most of the people that love the movie are still like, and me included, are like, yeah, that ending with the alien, they kind of swing and a miss.
Well, so I'll give it
that whole. I'm not saying showing the alien was a bad idea, but the setup and the scene, and you're right, in a light, bright room. Right, with our technology isn't advanced enough to make that alien look good at 2002. It wasn't.
No, well, and here's the thing though, is they could have made it look good had they darkened the room.
Well,
had the alien smashes the light bulbs and then it's in darkness, and then they can use those tricks and it's deserved.
But it was like in the middle of the morning.
They had boarded up the house though.
That's a good point.
So that's my point.
Got me there.
Exactly.
Damn.
So yeah, and then the other thing that I was gonna say.
I wonder if looking back after I edit, the boards are still.
They're not.
They're gone because they broke in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So then that scene wouldn't have worked.
It's half and half. Well, because it's like they also show the boards. They also say that they initially got in upstairs.
Right.
But what I was gonna say for the setup was, I do feel like the alien coming back is deserved. Because he lost his fingers. And if it's a raid, he's some type of pirate mercenary. You take something of mine, I'm taking something of yours. And I mean, that's just like life in general. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like even like animals want revenge. It happens.
Yeah.
So that part, I do believe there was set up for that.
Yeah.
The implementation is what was the problem. Which is why I gave it a 6.5. I said all of the individual parts on their own have some very good parts, but the way they put it together was subpar.
I thought the visuals for the alien, there's not a lot of it. You see his foot for a moment. You see his claw.
I think
you see his hand.
All the prosthetics they were allowed to do were great.
Yeah.
When it wasn't a prosthetic, that's when we had a bit of an issue. And I don't think, and again, like I was saying, I don't think that this is a era issue. This is a directing issue.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there's now VFX supervisors on set for movies nowadays, because they had issues like this with directors before.
Yeah. Because the director will have a thing in mind, but then when it comes to the visual department, they're like, dude, we can't do what you just wanted, or we don't have the budget, or we don't have enough time, or
sometimes
there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's like...
Sometimes they just don't even have the data. Sometimes they don't even get the
or
shots
they can't
they
even,
need.
Yes, exactly. So they have to work hand in hand together, and again, this was 23 years ago at this point. So,
but at the same time, Jurassic Park was a decade before.
That's true.
And that T-Rex looks amazing because... darkness, and they show it in the correct places.
I mean, 72 million.
That's I mean, come
Can
on.
I just say something?
For a few shots at 72 million.
How much of that went to Braveheart and the Joker? I
don't know. That is kind of a good point.
And at this time, M. Night Shyamalan was like one of the biggest directors in Hollywood.
So I mean,
so it's like how much of that went to just to get them on board, and then they're stuck with what 30 million to make a movie. And
I think it was half the budget.
Dude, that was kind of like towards the end of Mel Gibson's peak. Like he was still making money for.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mel Gibson made a reported salary of $25 million for his role in 2002 film Sign.
That is over a fourth of the budget.
That's what I'm saying. They were getting paid bank back then.
All right, I am uninformed. Jesus Murphy.
Yeah, so then you have to think like they really.
They still get royalties after that. Can you imagine?
If you take out the CG, that could have been like a $5 million movie to make, easy.
Yeah, I
like
guess.
there's not what scenes.
But you know what?
They rent out a farm and they have five actors in the entire movie.
That's what I was gonna say that at some point. Like, I wonder how long this actually took to shoot because it was a single location film for the most part.
Yeah,
there was the shot with the crash. One more location, and then
the town,
which was one other location.
It was a couple. It was like
make one or two scenes, yeah.
And then can we talk about low-key one of the coolest scenes? This Ted Sutton SFC Cunningham.
Dude, yeah, that recruiter,
the recruiter guy.
That was you know what? And I think Shyamalan did a good job of showing how alien we can be at times, because he. Yeah. When you think about it, if the aliens are here to raid us and take our bodies, the military's doing the same shit, bro.
Yeah. And his psycho look,
bro. I was like,
he doesn't blink. Like,
I'll be honest. After that, I wasn't sure if anybody was who they were because I thought they could potentially be aliens.
That's cool. That's cool.
I was like, because that dude freaked me the fuck out, dude. That guy was creepy as hell. Do you have anything else to talk about visual wise?
For visuals, last thing I'll say is the practical hand that creeps out from under the pantry.
Yeah,
was so good. Actually, we're gonna
just so you guys know, I freaked the fuck out.
We're gonna get into sound design because I want to talk about that scene specifically with sound design.
Yeah.
There's obviously like almost a muted like a quiet tone to the entire scene where it's basically Mel Gibson making up his mind what he's gonna do.
Well, it's the sound of the knife hitting the ground,
right?
Too, which...
Also, if you hear it so quiet, how aggressive they make the sound of when he pulls the knife off the counter. You would think if you're gonna pull, like if you're in a scenario that you're like freaked out, you don't want to really make a lot of noise, you're probably gonna gently pick up the knife and try to be kind of like careful and sneaky about it. He just grabs that thing and goes.
I disagree. He does it slowly, which is why they were able
it was loud.
I know, and that's they were emphasizing it because it was, and that's one of the reasons I brought up in screenplay where they fake you out. Right. Because it's that long it almost sounds like a sword being drawn.
Right.
And then it's a mirror.
And
that's when it goes quiet.
what I feel like 99% of, especially like horror movie makers back in the 2000s, there was such, and I
It's all sound design.
yeah, it's all sound design where it's like the visual can be whatever. It's just going to be a loud bang, and you're going to get scared because you hear a loud bang or a loud scream.
Yeah.
That's why you get scared, is because your eardrums are taking a beating, and you're like, oh, I'm awake now. But that scene with the knife, there was no. You just hear what you hear is you hear the hand go out and slam its hand on the ground to try to grab him. That's all you hear in that whole scene. So you're not expecting it. Your brain is no longer being told it's scary because of sound cues. Your brain is being told the scenario is fucked up and the visual, there's something after me.
Well, I think, and one of the things about, especially with the hand under the door, is there is subtle sound design there, though, because there's a scrape sound that it makes that, like, you associate with something moving quickly across tile.
Right.
And that's partly why I freaked out so hard.
Dude, you you shouted and screamed so loud and you flew back in your chair. I absolutely thought your chair was going to fall over. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Dude, it shocked.
Have you ever been that scared in a movie?
It's been a while, bro.
It really got you.
Yeah, like, honestly, I can call most jump scares before they happen, like, but freaking something about the and I think I might have said this earlier, but you're expecting a from the knife, but you get a instead from the nails, which I was not expecting, which is part of the reason I freaked out so good. And then the prosthetic was great too. Like, the prosthetic itself was fantastic.
Right. Something that, I mean, as I just know, I watch way more horror films than you. So typically when you get a jump scare, it's like the cliche sound cue of a loud bang or a loud noise or
a sting.
So whereas you can literally close your eyes and you're still kind of get jumped because of the sound cue is so fucking loud in your ear. Yeah. It's like, oh geez, like that's gonna wake anybody up. It's almost like waking up to an alarm and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm up. Like, that's how the sound cues are in most horror movies. This did not have it. It just was a visual cue with obviously the scraping of it. Yeah. But I can't think of too many movies or too many scenes in horror movies where it literally relies on like visual and like the tone of the scene.
One of the things I want to bring up is what I think is a missed opportunity was how the alien sounded, because I don't really remember that at all, which tells me it wasn't that impactful.
I actually remember you said it sounds like a bug.
Yeah, it was a chittering sound and it was super generic.
Yeah, it was. I bet you if you were to YouTube,
like alien chittering sounds,
noises.
Yeah, that's what would come up.
It would come up with something like, I feel like, you ever see Cowboys vs. Aliens? With like Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford.
Dude, I've started watching that a few times, but I've never gotten more
it's
than
not
like
a
10
good
or 15
movie.
minutes into it.
I've watched it a handful of times because every time I'm like, man, I wanted this to be a good movie, and it just so was not. But the aliens are very similar. They're kind of like bug-like.
Uh-huh.
And I just think that is kind of a cliche direction that a lot of people go to. Yeah, I mean, if you what kind of sound would they make?
Well, like
what would you like to hear?
Have you ever heard there's this bird that sounds like a machine gun?
Yes.
Something like that.
Okay.
Like, that's what I mean, like something just absolutely foreign.
Yeah.
And or something that's common that isn't like you could take a siren, distort it, and then chop it up.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean?
Or like an actual language. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a language, but I'm just saying, like,
well, I think
what if it was like because you mentioned
like with like a bunch of clicks and stuff, or like,
well, that is what it sounded like, actually, a bunch of clicks, you know.
Yeah. Well, and yeah,
I was saying, like, because you mentioned how the crop circles looked Egyptian, like hieroglyphics almost, like kind of. Mm-hmm. What if it was like an old, like, sounds like an old language, right? That like
Maybe.
we would actually be like, I have no idea what that is, but I know they're communicating.
Or they just speak like
Hebrew
know. Or something.
Moving, I think it was a very simple, quiet movie. Again, it takes place on a farm, so I mean, how much sound effects are you going to have besides the interaction with them once or twice with an alien?
I mean, yeah, that corn sounded good, but
the crunching of the corn.
yeah, that corn sounded great, but
all right, moving on. Score.
Yeah. I gotta say, I don't have a lot to say about the score because it was kind of forgettable, and I think was one of those movies that intentionally used silence to draw like you into certain performances. And like, I'll go back to when Mel Gibson was talking to Joaquin about the two groups of people, and we're watching Joaquin's reaction. That didn't really didn't have any kind of like music to it.
I think out of all of and I don't, have you seen his other films, M. Night Shyamalan's films?
Some of them, but yeah, and again, it's his. You're gonna say it's his style, I'm assuming, right?
Not even. I think that this is probably maybe one of the most forgettable scores he has, because I mean,
it's not there.
The Sixth Sense. I don't think it's there. I can't even remember a scene where there's a score where I'm like it sets the mood or tone for anything. The other films like Unbreakable, the Village, The Sixth Sense, like they have like the theming of the score really, really well done to add to the theming of the movie. I don't think this movie had that much, so a little lackluster.
And I think you kind of brought it up in sound design too, where like when Mel in The Sixth Sense, when we see the pink bathrobe, there's a sound sting. But when we see the hand, there is no sound. There's a musical sting. When we see the pink bathrobe go across in The Sixth Sense, we don't get that with the hand jump scare.
You're right. Are you seeing the bathroom scene and when the kid is like in the middle of the night going to the bathroom and you see someone walk by?
Yeah, that pink bathrobe is famous, baby.
Yeah,
but that's so, and that's. I think you basically laid it out perfectly right there. It's like where there was a musical sting in his other films, there wasn't one here.
Right. To the point that I knew exactly what you're talking about, because I was like, it does add like a memorable shock value to it, whereas this didn't. But I also don't think this needed it. I don't know if it would have amplified the film or any of the scenes in any way for this particular film. I think it's because it literally takes place on a farm, so I think they're trying to stay true and very organic with like the audio and everything with it.
Well, and I think like the audio we did get generally came from the radio, right?
Yeah,
and most of that was chatter.
They did actually that scene where they're all on the car trying to listen to the walkie-talkie. There is a little bit of like a score climax, right, to add to like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Well, it's inquisitive, right? It's we're starting to solve some of the mystery. Right. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it.
That's it. We're moving on. We're going to move on to themes.
So, themes, I mean, how deep do you want to get into it?
I mean, as deep as you want. I know that we touched on it earlier. It's like basically you were saying is, there's two sides and they go, and that's the name of the game for the film is, what side are you? What side is the character? What side? And he's very wishy-washy, flip-flops back and forth until he establishes his faith again at the end. So that's the theming is just faith.
Well, and I think it goes, a little further than that, right? And like we'll go back to the name signs. It's what sign do you require to move you from group 2 to group 1?
Right.
From what does the alien need to be standing in front of you holding your child?
Right.
Or does seeing it on the roof do it for you?
Right.
And like, are you willing to? And like, I think that scene where they're not willing to say what they saw yet, because they didn't really believe it yet. They still thought it was the kids.
Right.
And so like. And I think that's the interplay in the film. It's the dichotomy. It's they're using the aliens in place of God, or faith in general. Right. Yeah, that's basically it too. Like it's not.
Are you Are you an atheist or are you a man of faith?
Yeah, or are you an agnostic who's somewhere in the middle, right?
Right.
Who hasn't made a decision quite yet because there hasn't been enough pull from either side.
Yeah.
Honestly, it doesn't go deeper than that.
It really doesn't, because it's almost like spoon fed to you.
Yeah,
like it's not. There's not too much depth with it.
Well, it's because, like you said, it was a huge blockbuster film, It was to make sure that the dumb people could put two and two together and go,
Right.
oh, they're talking about faith.
Right.
And it's like, I'll just say, I know certain people that need to be whacked over the head with exposition and explanation for them to clue in. And I feel like, especially with Shyamalan as a director, right? Because some people didn't get Sixth Sense. Like,
Right.
they didn't get it. So
I was thinking about that too. I'm like, it's not that he doesn't have the ability to write a complex, in-depth script. I think he just kind of toned it down a little bit for this one, just to be like, you know what, it's just going to be kind of like an alien thriller.
Well, and I think, and like I said, it's not just necessarily an alien thriller, it's an alien philosophical thriller.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's a lot of conversations about what constitutes belief and like where you put yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's themes. And then moving on to stunts. Which,
We're in a ton of stunts in this film.
no, because there's there's no real action.
They got thrown. I will say this, there was one scene where Joaquin got thrown at the end, and I remember him rolling and hitting some debris and then getting up, and I was like, damn, he did that. And I think the hand was great, and I think that they did get away with a dummy on the rooftop.
You think that was?
It was a dummy or a dude in a suit?
You don't think it was FX?
No, it was a dummy or a dude in a suit.
Really?
Why would you spend however over a fourth of their budget went to Braveheart, like you're saying, Mr. Gibson.
Yeah.
So why it would make and if you've got the prosthetic team to do a hand like that, it's not that hard to make a suit or a dummy. Why would you waste the money on?
True.
See, that's like a very modern way to think about it.
It is.
It's, we'll just do it in CGI.
I'm not even, and that's not even the reason why I thought of that. I'm thinking visually, when you look at that, he doesn't. It looks a little bit CG, I think.
In my opinion, that's because it's good prosthetic work or dummy work.
Okay.
And I think it's a dude in a suit on a roof. You don't need anything more than that for that shot. You don't. And like I bet you that I bet you as a director, if you went to the producer and and he goes, hey, I want $1 million for a half-second shot of them looking at the alien on the roof, and we can do $500,000, or we could put a dude on a suit on the roof for $10K.
Yeah.
What do you think the producer's going to say?
Especially back then. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
2002.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I rest my case.
Well, let's sum everything up, because it's basically went through all the categories here.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts? Anything that you thought of like, well, in the timeline of this universe where things are going awry with being invaded by an alien species, was there any questions that you had that the movie didn't fill in for you? Any plot holes?
No, because there wasn't much of a plot.
You know how many dogs ate their owners in this movie, or attacked and just killed their owners?
I don't know.
Because if that was like, dude, their
what if that was widespread?
Their dogs were fucking loyal, good dogs, and were willing to fucking eat one of the children.
Right behind pit bulls, German shepherds are the second highest breed when it comes to owner attacks.
That doesn't mean anything. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
I think you're for the most part.
I was just being devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's actually a good point.
So hundreds of thousands of dogs exist. Millions of dogs maybe exist in this country. How many of those went fucking crazy and tried to murder, if not successfully murder?
That was also the very beginning of the film, when there weren't as many aliens around.
Yeah,
so less dogs, but regardless, yeah, you're right. Like, there's unanswered questions. That's one of those cinema sins things where it's like.
But the thing is, it's such like a big part, because the kid murdered. Like,
he murks the dog.
He kills his own dog. So you're like, wait, what is happening? Are they going to touch on this? And they never really talk about it again, other than the fact that it's known that pets are going a little crazy around the country.
And what gets me is that the dog, and I think I said earlier, like, I tried to explain it, like, maybe the aliens, smell really bad to the dogs, but it wouldn't explain why the dogs don't like the water. And, like, that's one of the things I was thinking about when I was saying that. Is like,
right.
It makes sense for the dogs to be losing their shit.
Right, but, like,
it doesn't make sense for them to be afraid of water, though, unless, like, they're turned into like some form of rabies, and with rabies comes hydrophobia, right? So there is an explanation there. If they drove them rabid, quote unquote, then they would be afraid of water. But if it's just the dog losing their shit because they're smelly, then the water thing doesn't make sense.
That's honestly the only thing I could think of at that, because you're right. It's not, the plot itself isn't too in depth, where there's not many plot holes in it, because you're like,
it's like there's aliens
pretty
here.
Pretty straightforward, yeah.
There's more aliens here.
Right.
Board up your house.
Yeah, they're
board
afraid
up your windows.
They're afraid of water. Now they leave. End of movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there really isn't
There's not a whole lot in there.
And a whole lot in there except for the dog thing. That's all I could really think of. Again, I'm gonna rate this movie because and something that we talked about briefly earlier, outside the recording of this, is the ending fell flat, and I don't remember. It's been maybe 10 years since I've seen this movie, so it really does end flat. Like even before the last scene where he's back into his pastor, his father suit.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, we're like, okay, that's the ending, and then 2 minutes later, that's what was it. So you're like, okay, it's very predictable, very straightforward, and it is a little bit lackluster. Where it's like,
it's
okay,
not just a little lackluster.
Yeah.
It's like we're right back where we started.
Right,
Like, what's the point? It's like a
enti-
TV. And you know what pisses me off? It's like a TV show. In a movie, there's supposed to be a cathartic ending where the character goes through their journey and ends up changed at the end because of their experience. A TV show character goes through their journey over the course of the episode and in general falls back to where they were because that's where they need to be for the next episode, and this felt like that.
yeah,
Felt like a crappy episode of Supernatural.
yeah, for the ending.
Even the bit where the brothers are talking and before they run out, Supernatural vibes, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why my brain subconsciously was like...
Another thing, so maybe this should be labeled like the category of like flaws.
Okay, yeah.
Or something. Something that I can't stand in movies, and it's not even just like a horror genre issue, but like in movies when there's a really like extreme part, let's say that there's like, it's kind of an action love story too, and the two lovers reunite towards the end of the movie, but a bunch of action's going on, but they want to take the time to like kiss each other and love each other and tell each other how much they mean to each other, and I'm like, move on to the town, now's not the time. When Mel Gibson continued doing that the last like 40 minutes, last maybe 20 minutes of the movie, 25 minutes, where he's like, Bo, I remember when you were born, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I know the point of that is to calm his children down, give you a little exposition there. But like, and then with the kid, and I know we talked about that. Like,
It's got to be darkest before dawn.
I can't get over how poorly that was done when he continued talking to his son about how he was born and his breathing and his asthma, and like that was the thing. Is like, dude, now's not the time. Can you not do that right now? Like, as an audience member, it's annoying to me. Like, that's always an issue for me. But besides that, I think the build up and the writing of the movie is so well done, where the last 20 minutes of the movie fell short. If they made the last 20 minutes and he handed that off to like I don't know,
his second unit.
Yeah, like someone else, like Carpenter, who did like the Halloween movies. Like, here, can you help me do the last 20 minutes of this movie or something?
Can you light my alien scene in a way that makes sense?
Yeah, because it a little bit fell short. But other than that, for 2002, for making an alien movie and using CG for a limited capacity, I think they didn't overuse CG. I think they kind of good story writing. Good character development, except for the ending.
What I'll say is, like, limited CG usage, yes, but the reason for that is because they leaned on incredibly frustrating camera angles, which is what brings this movie so low for me.
Really?
Yeah, and I said it earlier, too. There's an interesting way to hide your monster, and they didn't do it in an interesting way. There's an interesting way to, like do these camera angles and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff to me that just did not make sense, and I was just like confused while I was watching, where I was just like, why?
I was very used to them hiding the monster until halfway through, which, by the way, they only did that, we mentioned it earlier, one time.
No, but before that too, but I also mentioned there's other weird camera angles and stuff. Like, why is the camera in the great scene where we're watching Joaquin Phoenix's reaction to Mel Gibson? Why is it from this weird downward side angle?
I think acting was 10. I think it was. I don't think it could be better for what it was.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the best because the writing's not the best in the world.
The
but
Culkin's a Culkin.
But Joaquin is Joaquin. They're gonna do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I think they all did really good.
I think the last 20 minutes just fell short, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think.
I think because of that, I'll give it a 7.5.
And yeah, I'm gonna hold at 6.5.
Okay.
During this conversation, nothing has made me change my mind and go, yes, that was a good thing. Because one of the things I'll say is I do like a certain type of horror. And the type of horror I like is horror where your characters that are going up against it are already powerful, and whatever they're going up against is worse. And like, it leads... Because one of the reasons I feel like this film felt anticlimactic is the alien has the kid, is holding the thing, and doesn't do anything.
Give me an example then.
Of
like they're prepared and they're armored, but they're going against something worse than them.
Aliens.
That was actually my example in my head.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Boom. Done.
Especially Alien 2. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, Aliens. Yeah, plural.
Oh, Aliens.
Not the first
okay.
one. Not the first one.
So the
not
second
the
one,
first one. So
where they
second
had like all the soldiers with them.
where they're geared and
Bill Paxton, by the way, is one of the soldiers.
Game over, man. Game over.
So that is a great film. Yeah, where they're badasses, but they're going to go in something worse than them.
Exactly. Or Predator.
Yeah.
Predator. Fucking badass commandos take out an entire fucking enemy drug camp. And then get taken out one by one.
Here's how I don't even feel those are horrors. I think those are maybe for the time it was, but I think they're just an action thriller. I wouldn't even not consider.
Well, okay. How about this? Get Out.
But Alien, I would consider horror.
What about Get Out?
Yeah, that's a psychological horror.
So, and in that, the character is maybe not powerful or strong, but he's intelligent.
He's
intelligent.
He has his wits about him where he can handle a situation.
He's not stupid, right? And he's going up against crazy white people.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that makes sense. And they have the depth to be scary, and the hypnosis is horrifying.
Right.
Like, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And otherworldly in a way, you know?
Like in that case, you could say Stormship Troopers is a horror movie. And I'd be like, no.
Wait, what?
You could say Starship Troopers, sorry. Stormship Trooper.
I was like, there's a fucking movie about stormtroopers. I was like, whoa.
Starship Troopers, you could be like, that's a horror movie, and it'd be like, no, but there's
body gore.
There's body gore, sure,
gore.
But that doesn't mean doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't mean it's a horror movie.
Yeah. Just because there's a monster that is going to rip you apart, that doesn't make it a horror movie.
So what does make it a horror movie?
And I actually don't know. I could be wrong.
You said Aliens wasn't a horror movie.
No. I agree with you about that. I said Alien is actually an example. Aliens or the entire Alien franchise, I think, is a good representation of, outer space.
Sci-fi horror. It's a combination of sci-fi horror and cosmic horror.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand what it is, and it's unfathomable. We can't understand.
Yeah. I think the most effective horror for me are movies that are, like I said, grounded to reality, in a way where like Jaws is so fucking. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
We should watch Aniara. That's a movie about a spaceship that's on its way. It's on its way to Mars, and it's supposed to be a 2-week journey. And they get hit by some kind of It's not a jelly field. It's like a net, like some cosmic thing where that goes off, and it pushes them slightly off course. And then because of how the reactor is, like, they can't make changes or anything. And it's just about the degradation of the society as time goes on. And it's chilling because it's like 6 months have passed, 1 year has passed, 4 years have passed, 10 years have passed, and just like
they're on a spaceship the whole time.
They're stuck there. They can't turn around. They can't do anything. So they're doomed. And so and the horror is just the existential, like, do you keep living or do you end it, bro? And that's and when you get to the very end of the movie, it's like, I was asking myself the question, like,
that sounds like a psychological thriller a little bit. You think it's horror?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because
but like I said, like what I was saying a moment ago is like something grounded where it's like in science.
That's why I brought this up. It's super grounded in a sci-fi sense.
Yeah.
because like
inside, see anything fantasy for me. I'm sorry, like let's examine like Riddick. It's
man, we have jumped the shark right now.
I know we have. I know this is what we do though. This is what I like it. Okay, so let's just sum this up because
I was gonna say
maybe that's a discussion for another day.
I was gonna say
sci-fi versus fantasy.
That's another clip, bro. That's a whole other clip. But no, so what I'll say, 6.5, not my genre, but I think that the individual components were good. I disliked the way that they were put together, and that's why it's 6.5.
Okay. For especially sitting with someone who's never seen it before, there were scenes that I was like, oh my gosh, that was so well done. There's so much potential for this movie. In your eyes, I'm assuming that's kind of what you felt. And then they had too many scenes that fell flat, where it countered the good stuff.
Yeah.
Where for me, I think the good stuff outweighs the bad stuff, but I don't blame you for being turned off enough by the bad stuff, because the bad stuff was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was cringy, and you're like, I gotta sit through this. Like, I don't remember.
Well, the kid's asthma attack.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Until next time, this was
Malcolm
and Macho.
Alrighty.